Hello developers, welcome back to my channel. I have been working on a series of videos on the React Clean Code. It's a series of live coding sessions about design patterns and design principles in React. Some of the videos are not really limited to React, it's in JavaScript in general. But in this video, we're not going to talk about any particular patterns. We're going to introduce a tool called Codemod. And this video is a type of introduction. It will give you some basic idea of the Codemod, the AST, how do you use it, and what it's for, and how it can benefit you from your daily work. And I have a few other related topics on this Codemod and how do you do that, how do you use them, how do you use different tools to support and simplify your workflow when you have to use the Codemod in your day-to-day work. So let's get started. The session is called Code 101. The subtitle is Automatic Code Refactoring. So basically we are going to introduce a tool that can help you to refactoring or like applying code changes automatically in a large-scale code base or code bases. So firstly, let's talk about what's a problem we are facing. Let's say you are an API developer or library developer, and you have developed a fancy, advanced, API called convert title. It has, it accepts two parameters, a type and a title. So it will depend on the usage. Like when user passing lower as a type and passing title, we will convert the title to lowercase. And you can imagine that it might be a upper as a type or title file, and we will use that type to convert the title. So let's imagine this is your API, right? And later on you find this is not really following your code stand, or you have a new code stand that requires the type to be the second parameter, and you need to swap these two parameters. You need to change the code from this to this, right? So it's pretty simple, but the only problem is there are so many usages, and to make the matter worse, it's not only you use the code or the API, because it's been, let's say your API has been published, and the user from all over the world are able to access your API and do the code API and do the conversion. So now the problem will be much difficult, right? Because you cannot control other people to adapt your change, or you cannot do that easily. You can absolutely publish a new version and then announce it for people to, I have this new version and I changed the API, the order of the parameter. You need to, if you want to use the new features or bug fixings, you will need to change that. It's kind of annoying, right? That happens in many different places, like in React from before 16, I think, like their class components, and then later on they migrate to the function component, hooks, and everything. And it's very difficult for the consumer to actually change their code base to adopt your change. So we definitely need something that can help to elevate the pain. So in this video, we're going to talk about one tool to support that functionality. It's called Codemod. It's called jscodeshift. It's published by Facebook, and they have been contributed to that tool extensively. And they use that also in Facebook, like in React and other internal code bases. So how jscodeshift works is basically it will pass your source code into a tree. It's called abstract syntax tree. And then it provides API for you to search the tree or find elements on the tree. And also it has API to manipulate the tree node. Maybe, you can remove a tree node or swap the some elements, and then once you're happy with the result, the tree, and you can output the tree into the source code back. So it's kind of using the tree as a middle or temporary stage, and also provide the collection of APIs for you to manipulate the tree. And the jscodeshift is provided as a npm package. So basically you can install the jscodeshift into your global space. So back to our example here, what we want is we want pass this source code into a tree first, and then find all the convert title function call, and then we swap the parameters, basically doing this. If we look at the tree I'm talking about, the AST tree or abstract syntax tree, so basically the jscodeshift will use some parser to convert your source code into this form. It's basically a tree const result equals to convert title, which is a call expression, and it will pass in the title, and there is a member expression which will be convert type $lower. So our focus will be the title and the member expression, and we need to swap them. I think for now it sounds pretty abstract, and it's less of a lot of lack of a lot of details. So let's start with some coding and see how to do that in action. So firstly, we need to install the jscodeshift. It's very simple. We just do this npm install codeshift. Let's do that. Because I have already got this installed, so it probably doesn't require much time. For me, let's also create the folder called codemod 101, let's say, and change to that folder because it's now an empty folder. And I'm going to init this folder as an npm package, so we can install a few items in it. So now we have the npm package initialized. So basically we can use TDD approach, like a testing-driven development, to achieve our codemod script. That means we can start from writing test. Luckily, the jscodeshift is very friendly to writing test. So let's firstly install a jest, install jest, and codeshift cdf. And then in the meanwhile, let's see how we can write a test. If we go to the document and there is a test section, so basically you can define transform and you can define your test. We will start with something very simple. Let's create a file called transform.js. So transform is basically the script we're going to use to do the conversion, passing the tree, manipulate the tree and the two source back on. So we will touch that file first, and then we will need to make a folder called tests. And let's say we will touch a tests transform.js, create the folder called transforms, and then we move the transform.js, the tests into that transforms, right? And now we have this. If we look at the transforms, it's basically empty files in it. Also, let's make sure the package.json will run the test. So if we go to the package.json, and for the test, we will do jest, and we can get rid of this. And if we run test, it doesn't, it runs, but it didn't find any test. That's okay. We can probably add a simple test in it. Let's say describe. Right, we can expect 1 plus 2 to equal 3 equal, I guess I misspelled it, EQL, do it again. Alright, so we have this running test. So now let's write a test for the transform. So in a document, there is a section talking about the define inline test. So that's what we're going to use. So basically, it will give you some options. So basically, there's a function called define inline test, and it accepted the transform, which is your function, the function you are defining to do the tree manipulation. And there is a input and output, and then there's an optional test description. So basically, we're going to use this. Let's copy the define inline test, and we can use WebStorm from here. All right, we are in WebStorm. So let's get rid of this and using the inline test from here. Let's write our test first. So given the input, which is const title equals to convert title, convert type dot lower, and the input string will be hello world, and we can use a string template instead of these, and the expected output will be let's get rid of this and using this one. And this will be the expected output, and we will say convert swap the parameter of convert title function. All right. So this is a test. So basically, we are importing the transform function, and then given this input, we expecting the output will be like this one. Now if we run the test, obviously it will fail, but just let's make sure it fails. Transform is not a function, that's correct. And if we go to the transform, we can simply do the module export is a function or something. And if we go back to the test and run again, yeah, obviously nothing happened because we didn't run any code yet. So in jscodeshift, how do you do it? How do you define the transform? Is basically you do a module.expose equals to a function and accept three parameters: the file info, API, and the options. And at the last step will be return the source. That means after you have converted the tree or do whatever you like on the AST tree, and then you can output the source code back to the file system. So this is the structure. We will just replace this. So we need to firstly use the CodeShift API to search the tree. And once we find some nodes, and we can apply our changes and then modify the source, and at the end we simply do toSource to output it. And let's copy this over to our transform, and we can simply call this a root, and whatever other code. That means we will put our logic here. So how do we know what is on the tree and what to swap? So in our mind, we can, when we see the code, we know exactly we need to swap these two. But what are those two on the tree? What the representation of the hello world and convert type lower? So now we need another tool called AST Explorer, which is a website we can use. So let's go to a website called AST Explorer and paste our source code into the editor section here. So now you can see there are a few other options, but we can simply, but the only thing we need now is the parser. So I'm using the Bible parser. And then if you click the converter title, the function, and you will notice it's highlighted here. It's called identifier. And for this convert type lower, it is another one. And also if we go up to this lower, and you will notice there is a member expression, which is the dot. When you see convert type dot lower, which is a member expression. So because I need two parts. The first one is the object. The other one is a property. So that means the object dot property is a member expression. And if we close this member expression, there is another one called a string literal. That is a hello word on the tree. And also both of them belongs to the arguments array. And the arguments is part of the call expression. So if we close it off, you can see there is a call expression. And when you expand it, there is a member expression in the argument section. There's a call E part, which is the function name. So that means we will basically finding all the call expressions on the tree, and we will need to find if the call E is name is converted to title. If it is, we will reverse reverse the arguments array. That's what we're going to do. So we need firstly find all the call expression. That's the first step. We need to use the jscodeshift API to find the call expression. And we don't want all the call expressions. We only need the call E name is convert title call expressions. And if that matches, we know we're in the right place. And now we simply swap the arguments array. So basically the arguments array is has two parts, the member expression and the literal, string literal. We just swap whatever in it. That should make our first test pass, right? Let's go back to our code. Right, in the transform. So we will need to use a J, which is the API, find. What we're going to find is J dot call expression, but we don't want all the call expressions, right? We only want some call the name is convert title, right? So basically all the jscodeshift API, especially for the finding or searching, it will return you a collection. Because normally there is not just one usage, you are expecting it will return you a collection. So for each of the elements in that collection, let's give it a name. Normally it's called path because it's a path to the tree. For this particular path, what we want to do is, let's say now we are in this call expression node. And we will say, we will swap the arguments. So let's say pass dot arguments dot reverse. That should reverse the two parameters. And basically we are done with the change. But we still don't know if it works. Let's say by running the test again. File is now defined because, okay, obviously the file info is the file, should be the file. All right, so let's run the test again. G doesn't has G the font is okay. Yes, that's true. Yes, it should be root the find, I guess. Let's rerun the test. All right, so cannot read the property of undefined reading reverse. Let's have a look at what is exactly the path we found. But since it's already found the path, right? Let's see. Yeah, looks like by looking at the console log, it found the arguments, but it didn't, and the argument is array. So on that path, we need to access the node element and see the arguments. Let's see what is the arguments in here. Right, okay, it found the array. Okay, cool. I guess we missed the node here. So let's do the, so for, I guess that because at the moment the funding expression is a calling expression, we need to fund that pass.node and assign the argument to the node.arguments.reverse. That should help us to like revert the arguments array. And let's have a look at the test again. Run the test. All right, it passes. So this time, if we go back to the transform.js again in the test, basically we convert the lower to from the first parameter to the second one. So if we duplicate the test, let's say if we have upper, and we want this one to be upper, and we can run the test again. It should still passing, but we also want to make sure that we don't change all the things. Like for example, if we have another function, let's say convert title plus, for this one we don't want to change that plus because that's not the targeting, right? It should be still the lower hello world, not the other way around. So if we run the test, the first test should still passing because we don't want to change the do not, like we need to make data do not change, do not swap the parameter of convert title function or whatever other functions. We only change the convert title. That is basically how you would developing a code mode using the jscodeshift. But how do we use this code mode once we have verified the idea, we have everything covered in a test? How do we use this transform? And if we look at the jscodeshift document, actually there is the jscodeshift has a command line tool. We can use that to apply the transforms to files or a folder. So jscodeshift, if we install in a global, it's already in a command line. We can verify that in here, jscodeshift. Yeah, you can see it has some output. It's working already in my local. So basically we have two usages. This one convert title is used outside in a global space, and the title here it's used inside a function. And we will see how can we apply this code mode into this whole folder. So according to the document, we can simply copy this over jscodeshift.t. What the transforms is called transform.js, and we want to apply that to the source folder. So you see, we want to apply the transform.js to the whole files in the source folder for all the files, and let's see how it goes. Now you can probably see here it says processing 2 files, and all done result is 0 arrows, 2 OK. So let's look at the source code now. The title here is already converted correctly, and the format as well is correct. That's great. That's basically what we want. So now you can see the benefit of just 2 files being modified. But in the real world, it could be 200, maybe 2000, maybe I don't know, 2,000 different code bases are using your package, which each has 2,000 usages maybe. And that will be significantly improve your productivity. And also it's correct, manual work never that accurate and correct. This is basically the Codemod 101. I hope you enjoyed the video. It's kind of a crashing course for the Codemod 101 with the JSCodeshift. So to recap, we will need a tool called AST Explorer, basically the abstracted syntax tree, to analysis or help you to identify what needs to be changed on the tree. And the other thing we need to get familiar with is the jscodeshift API. It has a lot of other usages. I probably will have another video to talk about the advanced usage, but you should have a basic understanding of how to use a tool to write the transforms and then test it and apply the transform you have tested and into your different code bases. Obviously, as you can see, there are a lot of setups, but luckily there are a few other tools that can help to elevate the pain. I will have other videos to cover that kind of advanced topics. So stay tuned. I will see you in the next time. Bye bye.